He feels well.
I'm going to open the Wolcott Select Board meeting for April 3rd, 2024. Adjustments to the agenda. The only thing I have is appointment of a tree warden. Approve the minutes of March 20th, 2024. I'll take a motion, please.
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
We have a first and a second to approve the minutes of March 24th. Do we have any corrections, deletions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
I
Opposed?
abstain, so I wasn't here. Neither was I. Shame on you. I was.
So carried. Comments from the community? I don't see any community. I have no correspondence. Moving on to the project manager's report.
That came quickly. So I thought I'd start the report on just a little different subject this time. Time back, we applied for a grant for signage around the town. We were granted that, and it just recently came through. It's for $9,700. This is a grant in which we can buy road signs, stop signs, curve signs, anything that's related to road safety, including line striping and that kind of thing. So this is a program in which we will submit our invoices and be reimbursed for them. So it's a good opportunity to get some of our signage in a little better shape around town. On the insurance side, VLCT, really the only remaining thing there is the town hall, and that is still pending. There's been no word at all at this point. I persistently bug them, but I can tell when they're ready is when they're going to be ready. As far as FEMA goes, there's been a couple of changes and some new activity. We were really pushing to get some of our mitigation projects moving. Some of that pressure came from the fact that the board had approved bids for engineers and so forth. And so with those awards, these contractors are trying to schedule their work. And until we get approval from FEMA, they're in a spot where, they're either gonna, they may have to bail out if they don't hear something soon, especially concern with the box culvert, which is concrete culvert, needs to be cast. And that is, there's very few companies that will do that. Their workload is quite high. So it could potentially put the town hill culvert off to next year. We're hoping that's not the case. But as part of that project to kind of push forward, FEMA did send out a crew. Linda's very familiar with this. They came out Monday. I don't know how many, there was a lot of them. And we also had good representation from our engineers, Lucia and Linda, and Andrew Flagg from the state of Vermont also attended. We took a look at and did what they call a site survey of all of the mitigation sites. Those sites, there's three slides. One is Town Hill, East Hill, Jones Road, and then the Town Hill Culvert, and then the Flatiron Road. Fortunately, we were able to add Flatiron while they were here. So the objective is for them to take the data that they got from the site surveys, get it into the portal, which will move it into the mitigation team. And provided that that all moves fast enough, we may be able to retain our contractors. Yeah, I think the only other thing regarding the FEMA issue is that today was actually the last day for Gabriel. I thought it was going to be Friday, but he called me up today and said he's out and gone today. So that means that we're without a contact at FEMA.
Jesus
A
Christ.
new person has not been assigned. So I'm gonna have to train somebody new, I guess. And we do have Gabriel's boss, Cherie, is kind of our contact right now. But I doubt anything at all is gonna happen until this new rep is put into place. So that's where we stand. Any questions?
Thank you, Kurt. It is disappointing with FEMA.
FEMA's looking for people, so if any of you are looking for a FEMA job, I think you can get one.
Worked at being married for 38 years.
All right, let's move on to the select board review and action, the appointments. So we pushed off the appointment of the library trustee until today. So the Wolcott Library Board of Trustees would like to appoint Sharmone Lloyd as our fifth library trustee. The trustees had a quorum regarding adding Sharmone to the library board. That's their recommendation. No one else has come forward with my posting and my front porch forum. I asked the library to look for someone who was one of their patrons.
What was that name again?
Sharmone Lloyd.
Shermone?
Sharmone.
Shermone.
You must know her. She's one of the Cochrans. David?
I don't know. I know they live up north.
David Cochran, one of David Cochran. Or one of them up there anyway. So do I have a motion or do you have?
I'll make a motion that we accept that appointment.
On Lloyd, yeah.
Second.
Any other nominations or for the appointment? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried, thank you. Lamoille Fiber Net, presently we have Andrew Ross. He is very anxious to continue with FiberNet. He'll be coming in a few weeks to give us an update on what they're doing, but he would like to be reappointed as our representative on this board.
I'll make a motion that we accept that recommendation.
Have a second,
I'll second.
have a second. Any other nominations?
None.
Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. The third appointment is, our representative to the Northeast Kingdom Broadband Governing Board. And Bruce Wheeler presently is our representative. I called him today and he would like to continue in that position.
I'll make a motion that we have Bruce Wheeler continue in that position.
I'll second.
Any other nominations? Hearing none, All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Michael has reached out to Adam Allen to see if he was interested in being the alternative to as the tree warden. And I'll let Michael speak on that.
Adam spoke with Mike Green and got kind of a rundown on the job description and would love to be on the alternate list. So he's interested.
What's his last name again?
Adam Allen.
Adam Allen. Well, I'll make a motion that we accept Adam Allen as the alternative to the NEK broadband representatives.
Tree warden.
Reward.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry. It's not on there. Sorry. I mean, that's not on there, but continuing the discussion. Can you hear us, Deb? Adam Allen's gonna be the alternate as a tree warden.
Who was the second? On the motion?
For Billings. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. Thank you. We're whittling away at our list. Right. East Hill Road, Town Hill Road, and Jones Road slope bids. Are, I wanted to email them to you, but I just ran out of time, so I apologize. I gave you paper copies of each one of them. We spoke earlier about Jones Road last week or something. There were questions about that. I needed to go back and talk to the engineer on why Isaac Excavating was so much lower than King's. He felt that there is something in here about ledge and that he's predicting there's no ledge in there. Something also about his neighbor can, this aggregate shoulder or there was a thing in here for paving. And his neighbor does that and gave him a good deal. He spoke with him, so he felt that this Isaac's bid was legit. And he felt comfortable with it.
Which-
You have some questions?
road
This would be Jones Road. Jones Road slope.
Ooh.
FEMA did tell us when we were there, no way, they would not pay for paving.
That's correct.
Yeah, so that will be coming out anyway.
And the way that the contract is written, if they did find ledge, are we responsible for a change order or do they?
No.
Okay.
Whereabouts is this slope?
Way up before the bridge on the right.
There's ledge.
I don't know. The engineer was confident in that bid that we could accept it.
Are you looking for a motion to accept that? I'll make the motion.
Second promotion.
Are there further questions before we bid? I mean, I can't really answer them. I went back to the engineer after our last meeting. And questioned him on it. Hearing none then, all those in favor?
Alright.
Opposed? So carried. All right, let's do the Town Hill.
So that's the king is doing that, right?
Jones Road?
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's,
Isaac,
I
First
think,
one.
Get that? So, Deb, it's Isaac's Engineering Excavating. And it's for $108,690. Jones Road, well,
Got it.
we're gonna go on to Town Hill Road. Peters General Contracting was the lowest at 21,000. Well, Lucian and I questioned that with the engineer. He went back and spoke with Mr. Peters, and I have the email at home. Mr. Peters, withdrew his bid because he probably misunderstood something, because he is so different
Hmm.
in his price. So the next lowest, and if he's gone, Minash would be the next.
Who?
Menage.
Menage?
Penny Minash.
Menard or Menage?
Minash.
The last.
Oh, okay.
So NA Minash came in at $38,478. Is the next lowest bid.
Got it.
I'll make a motion, we accept.
I'll second that motion.
So we have a motion and a second to accept NA Minash's bid for Town Hill Road. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. East Hill Road. Gravel's construction came in the lowest. But we are throwing that one out because the ad, all the ads and the ads in the paper, the bid ad said a sealed bid. And they emailed it to us.
Oh,
So the next lowest is King's Excavating. Well, that's what our procurement policy says too.
so it's King's Trucking and Excavating.
King's Trucking and Excavating at $108,244.25.
That's quite a difference from Menage.
Blue Mountain Trucking,
Yeah, they were high on the other one too, though, weren't they?
yeah.
Yeah, more than double on Jones Road. And more than double on Downhill. Yeah, something's wrong with their numbers.
Should we have a motion to accept the King Trucking and Excavating? bid?
I'll make the motion to accept King's Trucking.
I'll second that motion.
Other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor,
Aye.
opposed?
Thing that bothers me is when you start looking at what was it, the excavation? Couldn't believe Blue Mountain compared to the others.
Yeah, and that's on all three
Wow.
of them.
Well.
Either they're paying high rates for someone to do some digging, or maybe I need to go back to running a shovel.
All right, review approved amendment to engineering's review. Maybe approve amendment to engineering's bid for FEMA projects. So I'll start off and say, I think that, Lucian and I have been spoiled by having Joey Wilson as our engineer in the past. He does work on an hourly rate, not a contract. Pretty much everything we've had him do basically has been FEMA reimbursed. But this bid, we put out to bid for, these 4 FEMA projects, not including Town Hill, that's Joey Wilson. And, New England Consulting Engineers, Dexter LaFave is the only one who bid and gave us a price of 79,600. But I guess you can kind of blame me a little bit. I don't know. I looked at it, we kind of assumed that he would be including the bid openings and a lot of this stuff, administering the bids. As you can see on his had the following past 6, 7, and 8 that I left on your table. So when we first met with him and, you know, Lucian and I said, well, you're gonna be there to open the bids and to, you know, look at the quantities and make sure that they're good for us, aren't you? And, you know, the bid documents, and then, you know, reviews the payment requests that they're at the right point in their job. But he said that that wasn't part of his original bid, so he's provided this amendment. Lucian doesn't think we should. Lucian thinks we should offer him 10,000 rather than 17,500.
So roughly Lucian's thinking around 90,000 total.
Yeah, I disagree with Lucian, but I told Lucian I would tell you his opinion. I mean, if you look at his original, you have a copy of his original schedule. I only had one. This is what his original schedule says here, what is.
Right.
Did I do that?
Yeah.
But it doesn't say anything in there about. It basically looks like he's gonna do plans.
Yeah, and this line 6 project
Right.
management, that's not defined anywhere.
Um.
Basically, he just wants to do the engineering, but someone else is gonna have to do the management.
Is the numbers wrong, but this says project management. You have that? He will organize review meetings on 30%, 60%, 90%, and 100% completion with the project partners and other stakeholders. And be responsible for providing a summary of the meetings, the meeting. So sounds like more meetings than,
Visits.
I typed this in number 6 here because we wanted as-built design plans at the end of the project, which he didn't have.
It seems to me that there's an overlap between the review meetings at 30, 60, 90 with project partners and other stakeholders. And then, discussing the review of payment requests. I guess maybe I'm reading that wrong, but it seems to me that those two things would overlap. And I mean, again, project management, I know he doesn't outline it here, but how do you manage the project without doing at least a couple of site visits?
Right.
I'd almost think you'd have to do just two, doesn't sound like you're. I mean, you're gonna have to see it at stage one, where they're gonna be going at it.
Well,
Stage two would be somewhere into their,
well, actually, Lucian is the project manager.
I see.
Lucian is the person who will be on site every day. Not all day, but he'll be there every day, making sure that they're using the right material. And
So he's kind of our acting clerk of the works. He's the one that's making sure.
yeah,
that
I
things are
call him
happening.
project manager, but he's the clerk of the, yeah. For even Joey's project, he did it for Brook Road.
Mhm.
You know, he knows when it's time to test the concrete or see if when the soil needs to be packed and stuff, and he does that, have the utilities moved.
Yeah,
He does all that. Because normally an engineer doesn't have time to sit on someone's project.
right.
For
Well,
the whole thing.
that's why a clerk of the works,
Right.
is a separate thing.
Right. I mean, we would expect the engineer to come and say it was built according to my plans and we want a plan outlining it. And that's why we typed that in at the end.
Mhm.
His phone number's on there. I mean, do you want to call him and have a conversation with him? Because I can't ask the questions you have.
right,
Um,
yeah, it's just too bad he's the only one that came out with any. Bit of any type.
I guess everyone was busy at the time.
If we have Lucian acting as the PM on these projects, or clerk of the works, or however you want to define his role.
Well, the bidding's all done. The bidding documents have been all sent.
Yes, yeah.
So. That stage has already been completed.
Mhm.
Where it says the town is providing on-site observation of construction by others.
Mhm. Not that it matters, but where does this pot of money, this 79 or 97 or whatever we choose to accept? That's FEMA reimbursable, where is that out of?
No, I'm gonna submit it to FEMA.
I see.
They're the ones that said we had to get an engineer and put up these all out to bid, so they knew the price.
Mhm.
And they want to see the plans.
Okay.
The way they're acting these days, I don't know if they're gonna pay us a cent. I don't know how
Especially now that
you
we-
feel for it.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Just the way I'm feeling that lately is that they're not even gonna pay us a cent, you know? Well, I'm saying, his question was, is the engineer's contract gonna be reimbursed by FEMA? It has been in the past,
Yeah, I heard that. I think it will. Yes, I think it will.
and it gets divided equally among, well, he has 4 projects and Joey has 1.
Mhm.
This is 75% reimbursement.
But the state has given us money, hopefully to cover that.
Yeah. My biggest fear with a negotiation with an engineer is that if we come back at 10,000, he'll go, no, thank you, I'm not interested. And then what do we do? You know, then we have to put out, I would assume we either have to increase Lucian's responsibility where he's doing these things. Or we've got to put out to bid for a clerk of the works.
Mhm.
And if we're going to do that, I don't think we can do that for 17.5. Some of the other bids that I read when they come through the Vermont procurement system, I get emails about things that are going on. Some of those clerk of the works things are happening for figures close to the $70,000 anyway. These projects are smaller, they obviously wouldn't command that kind of money, but if we have to involve another party, I don't think we're gonna do that for 17,000. Struggle with it, but I guess I would make a motion to accept the amendment.
Do we have any other comments or seconds? Well, we need a second.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we are open for further discussion.
So the 17.5 is for,
17.5 is for administering the bidding of the town. The 4 projects, which he's already done, he's distributed the bidding documents. He's gone to a pre-bid meeting at the site with the engineers. He's come here and he's responded to questions about the project. Then he's been at a meeting to review the bids with Lucian and I. And then he's done up these worksheets. He's gone through to see if these units are good. And he's provided the recommendation. So he's already done all that, which is pretty lengthy.
Mhm.
He will need to, as if we do the construction, he'll review when the payment requests come in. He'll sign off on them and say it's okay to pay, that they have done what they said they're gonna do. Respond to technical questions.
Can I interrupt for a moment? Michael, would you help Edie get a new jug of water on the water thing? Absolutely. Sorry.
so in other words, he's already done this, but now he wants to get paid.
Well, it wasn't part of his original contract, which you saw here. Basically, his original contract is to design the 4 projects for restoring them and come up with analyze the best way to design, and he's come up with the designs. Prepared the designs, and he's so he's given us the 100% design for the projects, and he's reached out to regulatory agencies about permitting,
Mhm.
because it's near water. Trying to make sure it's not in wetlands and things like that. That's basically what he said he would do for the original amount. And he said, hey, we want you to do this too.
That's gonna take time, but still, it's a pretty chunk of
Yeah,
money.
she's got a lot of money.
But we will be submitting it to FEMA for reimbursement because they're the ones that made us do it.
Well, I guess might as well bite the bullet and go with it. Seeing as how he's the only one and we're halfway into it, let's get it over.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
I,
Opposed? Okay, I'll fix that contract though. Okay, we need to approve, review and approve. The bond bank loan grant. So this is, it says loan agreement, but it's actually a grant. It's for wastewater, 125,000 through the Clean Water Revolving Fund. It has to go through the bond bank. And I've been hearing so I've executed the grant, which you've approved. Are doing. And, I keep asking, so it says loan on here, but you just keep saying we don't have to pay it back. So I reached out to Seth at Lamoille County Planning Commission and it says, Linda, this is good news, meaning get the grants done. This means that the last piece needed for the town to access the 125,000 subsidy funds for the engineering of the wastewater project has been fully approved and obligated. As we discussed in the past, the agreement is technically structured as a loan, even though no payback by the town is required, and it will be fully funded by the state. So just so you understand, so there's, two places that, the full board needs to sign. Oh, you've authorized this in the previous meeting. Well, that's going around, next item is authorization to apply for congressionally direct spending for wastewater projects. So we're continually looking for money so that we don't have to have a real bond for wastewater. And right now, we're looking at congressional spending. Congressional direct spending from Senator Sanders and Senator Welch. But I need authorization from the board to be able to move forward to apply for that.
I'll make a motion. We do that authorization.
Okay. In a second,
I'll second.
okay, we have a first and a second to, authorize the town of Wolcott to apply for, congressional direct spending for the wastewater project. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor?
I,
Opposed? So carried. Deb, do you want me to talk on the reappraisal or do you or Tom's here too?
I can do it.
You're ready.
Yeah, I can address that. And so, as you know, we've been thinking about the townwide reassessment. And so Tom and I sent out a couple of RFPs to Nemrick and another appraisal, authorized appraisal person in the southern part of the state. And we did receive proposals back from both of them. In addition to those two appraisers, we sent emails to 13 other authorized appraisers and asked them if they would be interested in doing an appraisal for the town. And then if so, we would have sent an RFP. And of those 13, 3 responded that no, they would not be interested. And we got no response from the other 10. So of the 2 proposals that we have received, it would be the lister's recommendation that the board go with the Nemrick proposal for a couple different reasons. First of all, we have worked with Nemrick in the past, are familiar with their work. They're familiar with the town, at least at the upper level, is familiar with Wolcott properties. And they're also going to be doing the surrounding areas in Elmore and Hyde Park, for example. And I guess the only downside is that right now they're saying they would start the work on the reappraisal the summer of 2026 with completion date looking at 2028. That is a long time. We had, or at least I had mentioned at town meeting that I was rather optimistic that if we go with Nemrick, we would be able to get them to start a little earlier than 2026 because they're doing work in the area. That remains to be seen. We don't have a commitment with regard to that. However, I think that we as a town need to at least lock into this agreement with the idea that it would start no later than 2026. The cost of the Nemrick proposal is a little higher than the other proposal, but the extreme difference is that the other proposal we received requires all of the field work to be done locally. And the town simply doesn't have the manpower to do that. And we really couldn't hire anyone to do that. I mean, that would just be defeating our purpose. And so the way I view it is that Nemrick is the only realistic proposal that we have received or are likely to receive. I would also note that we currently have over $105,000 in our account that can be applied towards the cost of the reassessment. Tom, do you want to add something?
Well, you pretty much summed it up. I can't really think of anything. Any questions?
So you are asking for us to approve the contract tonight?
Yes. Yes, and although it seems that the work would be done quite far in the future, The reality is, what we're hearing from Nemrick is that their dates for 2026 are filling up quickly. And so we feel that time is of the essence and would really appreciate the board's approval of the Nemrick proposal tonight.
Oh, I make a motion? I'll make a motion that we accept the numeric contract for the reappraisal process.
Second.
Have any further questions of Deb and Tom or?
So they're not sure if they can start in the summer of 26?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be confusing about that. They most definitely would start the summer of 2026. My hope would be that they could actually start before that, but pursuant to this agreement, they most definitely would start summer of 2026.
You set to vote?
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Just sign. So I guess the board needs to sign.
What was the cost?
It's 108,000 and we have saved up 105. So what happens is the state sends us money every year on our, for maintenance of our grand list. Is that where you're paying it, getting it from?
Yes.
Yes.
So they send us about 8,000 a year.
So we're
And
pretty,
we've been saving it.
So we should be able to make that.
Yes. We
In
should.
26, so
Yes.
that's good.
Zoning fees.
Junior.
The zoning administrator has requested that, the board, I'm gonna pass this around so you can kind of look, and I've put a check mark next to the ones that it pertains to. He's asking for the board, two things of the board. It's one is I have always waived permit fees for town and school properties based on verbal agreements. I think it is the town's best interest to have a written policy on waiving fees. But he doesn't want to just do it because I told him to. He would like us to maybe put a little blurb on the bottom that said that, any permits, the town takes out of the school wouldn't have a charge against them if the board so approves. The other thing he's asking is that, several years ago, I asked that the base subdivision fee of $500, that's what it used to be amended to $100 to avoid potential lawsuits from thinly disguised impact fees and be in line with surrounding town fees. However, the current cost of a newspaper notice is $105, not to mention my time to produce it. This is the cost for any public notice, not just subdivisions.
Probably we should charge more than 100 then.
Yeah, basically it's costing costing the town money and we need to.
Should we go with something like 150?
Well, I went back and looked at, so I asked Belinda, so there seems to be a little cushion in there, to pay for his service. It's about $25. You know, so that's what it's been in the past. You can do whatever you want, whatever you think is right. I'll let you look at these.
That's all right. I just wanted to make sure we weren't going in the hole on that.
Exactly, but we are going home. That's why we need
So
to,
the 25 would help ameliorate if we only charged 100. But we're not allowing a whole lot for Tom's time.
well, it's 105 now for the ad.
Right.
Right now, we're just charging 100. So we're losing money, so we need to at least bring it up to 105, and then we need to put a little bit on top of that for.
I'm leaning towards 150.
That's an hour or two to come up to do everything.
That way we don't have to count on the cushion money from the state, and it'll make sure that we're in the black on that transaction. And this is for subdivisions?
Well, it would be for conditional uses, anything he needs to put in the paper, conditional uses, variances. And then there's different subdivisions, there's minor and major.
Yeah, I see his major, he's already got at 150 plus. It's the minor one that's only at 100.
So we were having the minor ones, if it was like a subdivision by family members,
Mhm.
you know,
Well,
your father wanted to give you 10 acres off his farm.
how about 125 for the minor one then? I mean, it's still gonna look less than the major one. But it's still gonna keep you in the black on the transaction, standing alone. Almost.
So 125 would add $20
Yeah.
for the service. All right, Tom, do you have any comments?
No,
Does
not
that-
really.
Does that also include that he has to make a new Mylar?
No.
He doesn't,
No.
the applicant does.
Okay,
Uh,
And
Yes,
he
we-
does get paid for going to meetings.
right. Yeah, it's either 125 or 130 at least. Pay for his time to go through all the paperwork and
You wanna see it, Alan?
I'd go to 130.
All right. Whatever.
Just give it a little more buffer. I mean, you may include some time, you may have to send out some letters.
Yeah, I do
Paperwork.
every time. That's what takes the time. I have to send all the abutting landowners a notice of everything, you know, it takes a while, depending on how many.
Yeah, I'd go
abutters.
with 130.
I'd push it to 130 and leave it at that.
I mean, it's not a major hardship fee for anybody subdividing their property. It's fairly competitive with surrounding towns, I assume.
130 sounds good.
What's that? Yeah. You think 130 sounds good too, and then
So we have 130 is the recommendation. We haven't voted on it, but for conditional uses, variances and appeals.
yes,
Yeah, that feels like a break even number by the
the
time.
minor ones there.
Tom's.
And then the minor subdivisions are 130.
Right. Then leave the major at the 150 plus.
Yeah.
Depending,
Major,
there's a whole
150.
pile of paperwork and things going back and forth and lawyers.
God bless us.
God help them.
So, are you comfortable? Do you see any problem with our decision?
Yeah, that's fine. I
Okay,
just think we should keep losing money every time we advertise one, yeah.
okay, I guess we're ready for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we raise the fee for a minor subdivision to $130.
And the conditional use variance in the.
Yes.
Okay. We have a second,
I'll second.
we have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here's swamp land discussion. Last week we had Leonard Percy in. And he wanted to buy our land up in Bear Swamp. For his family to go recreation, hunting, fishing. I basically told him that, we didn't have a quorum, so we were gonna make a decision last week, but also, what was wrong with everybody being able to enjoy that land, hunting, fishing and
Yeah,
whatever. Someone putting it before the board.
I was thinking, that wouldn't be a bad idea for something for the forest committee to manage. If you're talking with hunting, fishing and all recreating, that sounds like a natural forest committee thing.
we're getting more restrictive use on open lands. And I'm not sure how much of it's available with permission. A lot of it's posted. A lot of people still hunt. I guess I'm more inclined to have Bear Swamp property remain under the control of the town for the benefit of its, proper use for the benefit of its taxpayers, resident. Yeah,
Well, that's basically what I told him, that.
there's just too much chance.
So I felt, but I needed, because we did not have a quorum, I felt we all needed to be here for the discussion.
And there's too much chance for it to become a restrictive use for that property. I mean, there's not a lot you can do with that land. You obviously can't develop it, which is good, but no, I think it's better to keep it under the public domain.
Well, and because you can't develop it, it really doesn't have a great deal of value on the tax rolls. I mean, if we put it on the grand list, sell it to somebody and put it on the grand list, it doesn't do us any good.
No,
Well, the other thing is if you leave it in town hands, it connects onto the wildlife management.
Right,
And it's quite a swampy area where a lot of people would like to go birding.
exactly, and so I heard from Jim Ryan up there on East Hill, he said he canoed through there, it was kind of hard. But canoed through there, it's beautiful, he said, and there's lots of birders that go.
Yeah,
up
I
in
mean, you
there.
get a lot of, I don't know what you call them, migratory birds,
Yeah.
ducks,
Yeah.
geese. And if you have someone go in there and just make it into a hunting and close it off, we're losing a lot of value.
basically, it's a wildlife refuge.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a stopping point on their routes, north and south, it's an important. Yeah, I would say no, because they're selling this land. It's
Is there,
More value in public resource.
more important to keep it in the public domain. And you're right about the tax. It wouldn't get proper property taxes. And yet the new owner could restrict access to that land just as much as they wanted to. And no, I
Was
think,
everyone in agreement with
Yeah.
that? Okay,
Yeah.
so my next question is that, so the neighbors up there are concerned that there will be a new select board at some point that won't feel like us, that might sell it. And they wondered if, we would consider looking into maybe putting a conservation easement on it.
It'd be fine with me. I mean,
I
it's,
mean, I would just look into what it means.
of course, I mean, that's certainly not contrary to our interest for the future.
I think Alan hit it. Let's see if we can get it in under our town forest.
Well, they're not gonna do that. They're not, that's not their job. Really, they're more into making trails, but I'll wait and you need to have a conversation with Gordon.
Yeah, I can talk with Gordon.
Yeah.
That's coming up next week,
Yeah, well, yeah, next Thursday.
next Thursday.
Town forest is the best fit to manage it, because in terms.
Well, it's, there's only gonna be one route in there, but the rest is waterway, so you can't really
But
make
how-
trails.
So if they manage it, though, how do we protect it from being sold in the future?
Conservation easement, I guess. Whether they're involved or not.
Well, you talk to Gordon
Right.
and I will talk to,
He would probably know.
Kate,
who was the other conservation who was on the forest committee. And just
Right.
see what it means. I don't even have any idea if they're even interested.
they're
But
probably not, but there must be a way to go through with the state and make it so it is
Mhm.
because it is a wetland. And
Right.
now I don't know if you heard about the legislature trying to pass new laws on wetlands and building.
Well, there's
I haven't heard anything
Oh, I don't know, no.
yet on it, but
Oh.
they've been talking about making it a little stricter.
Good.
Because as you can see, we lost 4 or 5 properties during the flood, so now they're gonna try to
Well,
define
they
it.
want us to preserve the wetlands, because that's where the overflow of flooding goes.
Well, it cleans out your
Yeah,
water and
yep,
replenishes it and it's like they say, beaver dams and their bodies of water bring in a lot of wildlife, so that's what we need.
so we agreed that it's not for sale. And, we will do some more research on how to make sure that we can
Do we need,
preserve it for everyone in town to
do
enjoy.
we need to make a motion?
It wouldn't
I
hurt.
think we'd have to wait. Well, maybe it'd be better to wait to talk to Kate. and Gordon.
Okay, we'll wait, but I mean, we can.
Another
tell
2 weeks
Leonard-
isn't
we
gonna
can
hurt.
tell Leonard that it's not for sale,
Right,
that we agreed on. Okay. So just updates, we're still looking for someone to clean. The person we thought, would clean is not interested. Kurt already talked about mitigation. I wanted to let you know that I finally met with the Vermont Leagues of Cities and Towns on the ARPA funds. At our next meeting, we are going to have to sign a resolution that she's going to type up for us. And we're meeting on the April 10th. I'm meeting with her again, but we fill out this resolution. Pretty much what we do is the resolution is putting all the funds that we haven't spent so far from ARPA in the general fund. We record it as payroll. And then, so we have all that money, so we spend that money on payroll. And then we have all that money that we didn't spend on payroll, which is the same amount, to do with what we want. I know, I could not wrap my head around it, but, I'm trusting her.
Some accountant nightmare.
I know. So I just wanted to let you know, I'm still working on it. So I want to quickly go, make a motion to go into executive session.
I'll second the motion.
Right.
Good night.
Right.
Buenos dias.